Thought about the next project yet?
Yeah, funny you should mention it.
Okay.
Okay, so you know how Abby has a friend who's got cancer?
Yes.
Lily? I was thinking, since she wants to be a Disney princess, maybe we can do like the Disney castle or something.
Okay.
And make it a cabinet door out of these old calendar pictures.
What a good idea.
So
Which one?
we need to
That one's cute.
call maybe Abby and see if she has a minute to bounce this idea off her.
Okay.
Because this one's pretty cool for a Disney princess. This is the Disney castle.
Right.
It's colorful, but you know, maybe she loves Mickey Mouse, and
Yeah.
especially what she's going through, believe in magic could be
Yeah.
kind of nice.
That's a good idea.
So we'll see what Abby thinks.
Okay. Sounds good. Kevin's here too.
So don't talk bad about me.
My favorite.
Good.
Or you have a minute?
Yeah.
We're thinking about your friend Lily, and we were wondering if it might be cool if we made a little cabinet, like a wall cabinet that had some Disney artwork as the door panel. I don't know if she's a Disney girl, but you mentioned, Kathy said you mentioned that she wanted to be a Disney princess or something.
Yeah, she is. She's all about Disney stuff.
Okay,
I
so
think that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
would love it.
cool. So years ago we bought this calendar that every month had a new piece of Disney artwork, and we've saved it, and that's what we're thinking of using for this door panel. So
How cool.
one of them is like kind of an abstract artwork, sort of like in the Small World, that has Cinderella's castle. It's real colorful. But then there's a couple that are just like Mickey Mouse. And the cool thing about this was the Disney theme that year was Believe in Magic or something like that. So I thought that's kind of appropriate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Okay, cool. So if you think it's
Oh,
a
I
good
love it.
idea, I will. I'm going to send you a picture of the pieces of artwork, and maybe you can guide us
Okay.
what she might like best.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely, I will.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
You guys are the best.
Oh, thanks.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you
Okay.
guys.
Sure. Bye-bye.
So I'm just going to mark my cut. Get a straight edge. Got my glass cutter. And you only make one pass. That's one of the keys. I'm going to use this plywood for its sharp edge here and just line up the score and hope for the best as I snap it. Ugh. Hope for the best as I snap it. Pretty okay.
We are mounting the Disney artwork to a piece of 1/8 inch hardboard using 3M spray adhesive. We use a painter's tack rag to get any dust off the hardboard. Carefully line the two pieces, then drop the artwork and work out any of the air bubbles.
Next, I rip all the pieces for the rails and stiles.
Now we need to rip down some 3/4 inch plywood for the sides, top, and bottom. We'll cut the pieces to length at the miter saw.
I set up my dado cutter for cutting the dados in the sides that will receive the top and bottom pieces. Next, I'll make a rabbet along the back edge of each side that the 1/4 inch plywood back will fit into.
This is what the sides look like once the dados and rabbet are cut. A few passes on the joiner will clean up the edges of all the rails and stiles.
Let me talk a little bit about the wood that I'm using on the face frame and the doors. This is a manufactured product. It's called Windsor wood. I get it at my local lumberyard, Big C Lumber, and it is finger jointed at the factory. Try to find a piece. Here's one. Hopefully you can see that, but it's finger jointed here along the long part of the run, but it's also joined widthwise too. It comes in all the dimensional widths, 1x4, 1x6, 1x8, 1x12, 1x10. It only comes in 16-foot lengths, so I generally always have a little bit extra sitting around, and I thought it'd be the perfect wood to use on this project since it's something I'm going to paint. It's primed on all 4 edges. Of course, I have ripped this and joined it, so I'm going to have to prime these edges before we paint it, but it makes for a really beautiful finish. I'm going to go ahead and mill the rails and stiles now using my router table shaper, and I've got this set up to do the ends of rails first. Always have to have a backer block so you don't get tear out as you push this through here. This is just a scrap piece I'm going to test to make sure everything's lined up here. So we'll make a pass. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, next we're going to run all 4 pieces of the rails and stiles, the door pieces, through to cut the groove. And yes, I know I'm a little spoiled. I've got 2 machines, so I can leave these set up all the time and they always align perfectly. Okay, so now you can see that cut the groove, and it also put a slight angle on the front side, the outside of the door. And then this has a tongue on it, which will fit into that groove, so it's basically a tongue and groove. And they will fit together like this, and then it leaves the groove in there where we will put our picture of Mickey Mouse. That will be the door panel. These are the router bits that I used for that. It's a rail and stile cutter. You can get these a lot of different places. You can spend a lot of money on them. I'm not saying these are the best, but they do the job for me, and I get them off of Amazon, so I'll leave a link in the show notes to these if anybody's interested. They're really very reasonable. I just vacuumed off all of the pieces for the door, the rails and the stiles, and now we're going to go ahead and assemble it. So I'm going to clean the glass both sides and go ahead and glue this up. Once it's done for good, so I have to be super careful and super clean. I have to make sure I do this up to Kathy's standards. So we're using non-glare glass, and non-glare glass has a frosted side and a kind of normal side. The frosted side is what goes out to face the world. The normal glass side will go up against the piece of artwork. So I washed the frosted side first because we can wash that again. Oops.
Here, Kevin is gluing up the ends of the rails and putting the door together with the artwork panel in the center. As he clamps the door together, is making sure that it stays nice and square. Once it's clamped up, we wait for the glue to dry. Just in case you're wondering, no biscuits were harmed in the making of this project.
I am going to get to work on the two side pieces. Now these are just plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, things that I had laying around. It's going to be painted, so that's completely fine. This is a nice kind of a cabinet grade. And I've already cut the dados in the top and bottom to receive the top and bottom 3/4 inch plywood pieces. And we've also cut the rabbet along the back, which will receive the 1/4 inch plywood. The next thing that I'm going to do is drill some holes in here for shelf standards, so we can have adjustable shelf or two, probably just one in this size of a cabinet. And then I will sand it, and we'll also do the pocket screws once I drill the holes, so I know that I don't have holes overlapping. And then we're going to be ready for some assembly. Okay, so I have this jig that I use for the holes, and I'm going to flush it up to the top and just clamp it down. Came with a drill bit that drills the 1/4 inch hole with a Forstner bit, and it's got this sort of spring-loaded thing that seats into these holes here. I don't need holes up very close because there would never be a reason to put a shelf there, but I'm going to start right about here. It's got a mark there, so I'll use that mark. Flip it over, flush it to the top. Incidentally, I always write top on my pieces because I get easily confused. Okay, got all the holes. Okay, so we've got all of our holes for the shelf clips in. We've got all of our pocket holes drilled. The dados are done. Before we assemble, we want to just give this a light sanding because it's the last chance we're going to have to do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the frame together using our pocket holes. Got it all laid out here right on a couple pieces of scrap plywood. I like this because I can easily clamp this joint together as I assemble it. It just works better than having a big old clamp on this workbench. So Kathy asked me if I realized that one of the rails was wider than the other one, and that's a very astute point. The reason for that is the top needs to be a little bit wider because there's going to be a piece of trim, and it's important to have the reveal along all four sides be the same. At least it's important to me. The beautiful thing about using pocket hole joinery is we can keep working. We don't have to clamp this up and set it aside, wait for the glue to dry. It is good to go. Strong, square. I'm putting some glue in the dado and getting ready to install the bottom and the top piece. The only thing that's going to hold this together is the glue. It's not really true because the way this is being built, everything will hold it together once it gets assembled. So I'm going to put the pocket holes obviously towards the front, but on the bottom I'm going to put them on the inside because there's not a very good chance that those are going to be seen. But they might be seen if we put them underneath, depending on how high they hang the cabinet or whatever. It's a nice snug dado.
And on the top side, I will go ahead and put these on the top because they'll probably never be seen there. They might be seen if they were on the inside though, so. Just a little stealthy. This glue bottle really makes this job a lot faster. I just got it. I'd seen them forever. Finally ordered one, and don't know why I waited so long. I always write top as a reference on both sides, just so I can keep myself straight. Okay. That is looking good. Got a couple of clamps on here. I decided to add a couple more clamps just to make sure the front and back all rest into that dado all the way. There, that's good. Glue is oozing out, so that is a good sign. That glue. And now it is ready to sit and dry.
It's time to cut the 1/4 inch plywood for the back of the cabinet. Before we put the back on, we need to install a nailer to attach the cabinet to the wall. Kevin uses his custom-made Ezomatic mortise jig to cut the mortises in the door and face frame at the same time. We apply glue to all the edges that will contact the face, then lay it on top. After careful alignment, we clamp them together, then install the pocket screws. The face frame will extend past each side just the tiniest bit. More about that later. Kevin's attaching the back using good old-fashioned box nails on the top and bottom, and brad nails into the rabbet. We have 2 shelves for Lily's cabinet cut from 3/4 inch plywood. To make them pretty, we use a nice molding. No nails or brads, just glue held in place by masking tape until it dries.
With this carcass fully assembled, now I can do some sanding on the face frame, and then I will talk a little bit about how I'm going to smooth this up. Well, I guess I'll talk about that now. First of all, I don't know if you can see it here or not, but my face frame is a little bit wider than the carcass by about 3/16 of an inch, at least a little more than 1/8. And I'm going to use a flush trimming bit so that edge is totally flush on both sides. But before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and sand the face frame, get these joints nice and smooth. That was 60 grit. I'm going to swap this out to 120 grit, and then our final sanding will be 220 grit with a finishing sander. Nice, doesn't take much.
To trim the face frame flush to the sides, I'm using my new spiral flush trimming bit. This thing is awesome. It's effortless and smooth as butter.
We'll definitely put a link to it in the show notes for anybody who's interested.
I'm using my miter saw for the first time to cut miters since I have made the custom insert for this, and let me tell you, it makes it a lot easier because I can see exactly where my blade is going to cut. So I've got my line here, and I can put it up against the fence and peek over the top and see exactly where the blade goes through that board by the saw curve.
Here's a finishing tip. When putting finish on doors or shelves, drive a screw into the ends so you can hang it from something like sawhorses. That way you can apply finish to all the sides.
Okay, I am getting ready to mount the 2-inch butt hinges, just a very simple hinge. I'm going to use a self-centering drill bit, which is real handy for this. All I'm going to do is, I've already mortised that, I'm going to just set this so this is flush with the outside. And then drill the hole, little pilot hole. And screw the hinge in. So I've just got this adjustable stand set up to support the outside edge of this cabinet door, and I'm going to go ahead and set it in the mortise that I made earlier, and then using that self-centering bit again, go ahead and drill a couple of holes and drive in the screws. Now before I painted, I put a block of wood right down here that will make this magnetic catch just a little bit higher than the edge of the door, which is right where we want it to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and secure this with a couple of screws. Probably have to adjust that a little bit later, but I'm going to go ahead and put on the knob. And 6 inches seems pretty reasonable. We'll put it right in the middle of this stile.
Thank you guys all for watching, and thanks to all of you who are subscribed to our channel.
We had a lot of fun working on Lily's cabinet, and I hope you enjoyed watching it.
And Lily, if you're watching, even though we don't know you, you and your family are in our thoughts.
God bless you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this little gift.
And as an Amazon associate, we earn from qualifying purchases.
Until next time, keep your biscuits dry.